One of the biggest misconceptions about me is that I was like this insecure child and I got so much surgery to change my whole face, which is false.
Hollywood's biggest stars weren't always as flawless as they seemed. Long before plastic surgery became a trend, many iconic actors and actresses relied on hidden beauty tricks and secret transformations to shape their image. From jaw-dropping makeovers to subtle changes, these rare pre-plastic surgery moments reveal a side of old Hollywood you've never seen before. Back in old Hollywood, things were not always as flashy as they may seem now. Even before plastic surgery became popular, stars felt a lot of pressure to look perfect, but they didn't have the technologies we do now. Instead, actors and actresses used sneaky plastic surgery, painful changes, and skillful moves to keep their perfect looks. Studios had a lot of control over how their actors looked because they often pushed them to meet the beauty standards of the time. Unlike now, when people are free to argue about external changes, these changes were kept secret. Some celebrities changed the way they looked with creative makeup and dental work, while others changed their looks in a more subtle way with early forms of plastic surgery. The goal is to make a public image that fans would admire, while keeping the truth from them behind the scenes. On the surface, though, they were stories of kindness, suffering, hardship, and the need to stay current. From the golden age of Hollywood, this list of 21 of-a-kind events that happened before plastic surgery shows how far some of the biggest stars will go to stay beautiful before the plastic surgery boom. The first on the list is Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe wasn't always the beautiful woman that people remember. She started out as Norma Jean, a fresh-faced brunette who looked like the girl next door. She went on to become a Hollywood star. But Hollywood has other plans. Small changes were made to fit their idea of a main lady. It is said that she had a rhinoplasty to fix her nose and a chin implant to make her face look more shaped and even. These changes, while not huge, made all the difference. When she put on golden blonde hair and her new features, she looked completely different. Her face was smooth and ready for the camera. She was Marilyn Monroe, not just another actress-to-be all of a sudden. This transformation was about staying alive in a field where looks were important for everything. It worked too. Marilyn became the most beautiful and sensual woman in the world. On the surface, though, being kind was just a carefully constructed image made by Hollywood to captivate watchers. Besides Marilyn, other people also went through changes. Let's talk about Rita Hayworth, who was known as the Love Goddess and had her own secret. Rita Hayworth didn't have the typical Hollywood look. When she first started out in the business, her name was Margarita Carmen Cancino, and she had dark hair and a unique, low neckline. But that wasn't really the look that casting directors wanted for a main actress in the 1940s. The company stepped in to help. A tough process called electrolysis was used to lift her hairline. There was no one-time cure. She had to go through 2 years of treatments to completely change how she looked. What were they? Her face looked softer because her forehead was higher, which also made her look more American. But it's not just about the hairstyle. She also dyed her naturally black hair a warm copper-red color that made her stand out. The change she went through made her Rita Hayworth, the ultimate screen siren. The public only saw the glitzy redhead, but Rita had to change almost everything about herself to meet the beauty standards of Hollywood. She wasn't by herself either. Just ask Clark Gable to see how the need to change can make even the toughest leading men weak. He was known as the King of Hollywood. His tough good looks and sure footing made him a hero. One thing, though, didn't fit the picture at first: his ears. They stood out because they were big. In order to be the romantic star, that wasn't going to work for him. Because of this, Gable had surgery early in his career to pin his ears back. Even though it was a small change, it made a big difference. It was his strong face and chiseled features that stood out. His ears were fixed. Gable's ear surgery showed that even Hollywood's toughest guys had to meet impossible standards of beauty. And Hedy Lamarr is the only one who can really push the edges of what looks good. She was more than just pretty. Hedy Lamarr broke new ground on and off the screen. But in the 1940s, you had to be perfect, being pretty wasn't enough. As an actor, Hetty was always ahead of her time. She was one of the first to try collagen treatments. It had been a while since fillers were well known. She knew how to get lips that were fuller and looked better. Things were not as complicated back then as they are now. Even though there were risks, Hetty thought the rewards were worth it. The new lips gave her a seductive, glitzy look that fit the parts of the femme fatale she got. And people couldn't get enough of how stunningly beautiful she was. Also, many people didn't know that Hetty was a talented inventor as well as a beauty idol. But Hollywood was mostly about looks, so she had to keep up her looks if she wanted to stay on top. Not only that, but Joan Crawford did more than anyone else to fight getting older. Joan Crawford was one of the most famous actresses of her time. But being in Hollywood isn't cheap, especially for women. As she aged, the pressure to stay young became too much for her to handle. And Joan wasn't going to let time take away from her fame. She seems to have had several facelifts over the years to keep her face smooth and wrinkle-free. She was very particular about how she looked. You know, she tried spa treatments and ice baths to make her skin tighter. She still got facelifts most often to fight age. Joan's focus on staying young was not just pride. It was a way for her to stay alive. She knew that her job depended on how well she could look young all the time in an industry where actors were thrown out when they got old. Joan didn't want to lose any ground in her battle to stay on top, and that was just the beginning. Hollywood is much more obsessed with perfection than anyone would have thought. Carole Lombard was famous for being very pretty and having a great sense of humor, but she didn't just naturally look that way. In 1926, she was in a terrible car accident that broke her nose badly. At that time, a nasty cut on the face could ruin an actress's career, and Carole wouldn't let that happen. She had cosmetic surgery to change the shape of her nose and fix damage. The surgery did more than just heal. It also made the person look more elegant and polished. Using this new look, she went from playing dramatic parts to romantic comedies, where her charm and good looks made her famous. People loved her smooth and fun image, even though few knew how hard she worked to keep it up. Her surgery to fix her nose was a turning point. It took her from being a struggling actor to one of Hollywood's most beloved leading ladies. And Carole wasn't the only actress who changed how she looked to become famous. Dean Martin, who was known for being calm and controlled, even changed to improve his image. Dean Martin was the king of smooth. He was a Hollywood star whose polished look, voice, and charm made him famous. But there was a kind change going on beneath that simple beauty. Dean had rhinoplasty early in his work to make his nose straighter. The sleek, elegant look that Hollywood wanted him to have was a bit bigger than his real nose. The surgery made his nose look better balanced and gave his face a more elegant, modest look. This small change made a difference. When Dean changed how he looked, his career took off. He became known for how cool and put together he looked, whether he was making jokes with Jerry Lewis or singing on stage. Even though it wasn't very dramatic, the nose job made him stand out in a field where looks can make or break you. Dean's change showed that even the most relaxed stars were affected by the push to look better. But not everyone was that lucky, even though his surgery went great. Ask Gloria Graham, the actress who made a bad mistake while trying to be the best. With her shiny smile, smoldering eyes, and golden hair, Gloria Graham had that classic Hollywood look. But the smile wasn't quite right for her. With the goal of making her upper lip fuller, she had many treatments to make it better. At first, the changes were not very noticeable. But as she kept making changes, things went badly. She was forever numb after having many operations. Her upper lip got tight and uneven, which made it hard for her to speak normally. This was terrible for a business that relied on looks. Directors didn't want to cast her because they thought her new attitude would turn people off. And even though Gloria's actions hurt her job, other people used changes to get even higher. Anne Margaret painted the most shocking picture of all, and her change wasn't a mistake. Anne Margaret didn't just become a 1960s sex symbol overnight. Her image was carefully crafted. In her early days, she was a fresh-faced singer from Sweden. But Hollywood wanted more. To fit the bombshell ideal, she underwent cosmetic enhancements to refine her features. Subtle procedures sharpened her cheekbones, and whispers suggested she had work done to perfect her jawline and lips. The result? A striking, sultry look that made her a star. Her image wasn't just about beauty, it was about power. With her new appearance, Anne Margaret became a cultural icon, known for her fiery hair and irresistible charm. Whether she was dancing alongside Elvis Presley or stealing the spotlight in a film, her look defined an era. The pressure to stay flawless pushed many stars toward constant cosmetic work. And no one knew that better than Priscilla Presley, whose early procedures helped her preserve a timeless beauty. Priscilla Presley was barely a teenager when she met Elvis, but by the time she stepped into the spotlight, her appearance had already begun to change. Determined to maintain a flawless, youthful image, she reportedly turned to early cosmetic procedures. Facelifts and other enhancements became part of her beauty routine. These weren't drastic changes, but they kept her skin smooth and her features delicate. Her face became as iconic as her relationship with the king of rock and roll. Through the decades, Priscilla's ageless beauty kept her in the public eye. Every photo, every red carpet appearance reinforced her polished, elegant image. But behind the glamour was a constant battle against time, a fight she wasn't willing to lose. There's also Bette Davis. Bette Davis wasn't just known for her intense eyes. Her smile played a major role in shaping her screen image. Early in her career, she realized that every detail mattered, including her teeth. To refine her appearance, she underwent dental work that corrected imperfections and brightened her smile. In Hollywood's golden age, a perfect smile wasn't just about looks, it was a symbol of elegance and charm. Her enhanced smile complemented her fierce, no-nonsense persona, making her on-screen presence even more commanding. Whether she was playing a scheming socialite or a troubled heroine, her polished image added to the power of her performances. Audiences couldn't look away. But Bette wasn't alone in seeking perfection. Many stars turned to cosmetic tweaks to stay on top. Even Vivien Leigh, with her delicate beauty, understood the importance of a flawless smile. Vivien Leigh's beauty was undeniable, but even the most stunning stars knew the value of perfection. To enhance her facial symmetry, she reportedly underwent dental corrections. These subtle changes refined her smile, giving her a more balanced and polished appearance, exactly what was needed for a leading lady. When she landed the role of Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind, her flawless image became part of cinematic history. Every detail mattered: her expressive face, her graceful movements, and of course that perfect smile. On screen, it wasn't just about acting talent. Beauty was a tool, and Vivien knew how to use it. But while Vivien's enhancements were subtle, others took more extreme measures to maintain their signature looks. No one knew that struggle better than Jean Harlow, whose beauty routine pushed the limits and came at a heavy cost. Jean Harlow was Hollywood's original blonde bombshell, but that platinum hair didn't come naturally. To maintain her iconic look, she underwent relentless hair bleaching. This wasn't the gentle process we know today. In the 1930s, hair dye was harsh, filled with chemicals like peroxide and ammonia. Jean's hair underwent constant treatments to keep its striking color, but the toll on her health was undeniable. The intense bleaching caused scalp burns and left her hair brittle. Despite the pain, she refused to change her look. It was her trademark. Some reports even suggest that the chemicals weakened her immune system, contributing to her tragic death at just 26 years old. While Jean's beauty came at a price, others opted for more discreet enhancements, like Elizabeth Taylor, whose subtle eye surgery added to her mesmerizing allure. Elizabeth Taylor's striking beauty was legendary, but even the most famous faces weren't always untouched by cosmetic tweaks. Early reports suggest that she underwent minor eyelid corrections to achieve a smoother, more lifted appearance. These subtle changes enhanced the shape of her eyes, already famous for their rare violet color. The result? An even more captivating gaze that made her a screen goddess. Whether she was playing Cleopatra or stealing scenes in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, her eyes became her defining feature. Fans were obsessed with her beauty, and her seemingly flawless face only added to her mystique. But in Hollywood, beauty often came with a price, and some stars took things to an extreme. While Elizabeth's changes were subtle, others, like Marlene Dietrich, reportedly went to shocking lengths to perfect their appearance. And the rumors surrounding Dietrich's facial transformation still fascinate fans to this day. Marlene Dietrich was famous for her razor-sharp cheekbones, but how did she get them? According to long-standing rumors, she had her back molars removed to create a more hollowed, defined look. It sounds extreme, but in an industry obsessed with perfection, drastic measures were nothing new. By removing the molars, her cheeks appeared more sculpted and angular, a striking feature that became her signature. Dietrich knew that image was everything. Whether she was draped in a tuxedo or shimmering in a gown, her chiseled face gave her a mysterious, otherworldly allure. And while her methods may seem shocking today, they reveal just how far some stars were willing to go to stay unforgettable, just like Mae West. Mae West was a master of illusion, and she knew exactly how to keep the world enchanted. While some stars turned to drastic surgeries, Mae relied on clever makeup tricks and rumored minor lifts to maintain her iconic look. She understood that in Hollywood, appearance wasn't just important, it was everything. Using shading techniques long before contouring became a trend, she sculpted her face with makeup to highlight her cheekbones and soften imperfections. Rumors suggest she also had small cosmetic adjustments to preserve her youthful glow. But Mae wasn't just about looking young. She was about looking fabulous. Her platinum curls, bold lips, and sultry expression became her signature. Whether on screen or in public, she refused to let the world see her age. And while her beauty routine seemed glamorous, it revealed a deeper truth. In old Hollywood, staying on top meant never letting the illusion fade. And no one knew that better than Burt Lancaster, who turned to more permanent measures as the years went by. Burt Lancaster was the definition of a classic leading man: broad shoulders, chiseled jaw, and piercing eyes. But even Hollywood's toughest stars couldn't escape the pressure to stay young. As he aged, Burt reportedly underwent multiple facelifts to maintain his rugged yet youthful appearance. The procedures were subtle but effective. He kept the lines on his face soft while preserving the masculine edge that made him famous. Fans admired his natural charm, but behind the scenes, he was determined to fight the signs of aging. Burt's willingness to embrace cosmetic surgery wasn't unusual. Even stars with softer personas like Doris Day turned to subtle enhancements to maintain their carefully crafted images. Doris Day's sunny smile and wholesome charm made her America's sweetheart, but that effortless beauty wasn't entirely natural. Over the years, she reportedly had dental work to perfect her smile and is rumored to have had minor cosmetic tweaks to soften her appearance. Her image as the girl next door wasn't just about personality, it was a carefully maintained look. Flawless teeth, smooth skin, and a youthful glow were essential for her romantic comedy roles. Audiences fell in love with her cheerful, approachable beauty, but Hollywood insiders knew it took work to stay picture-perfect. Doris was meticulous about maintaining her image, knowing that in the film industry, a polished appearance could make or break a career. Her gentle enhancements allowed her to age gracefully while keeping her on-screen appeal intact. This kind of careful refinement wasn't just an American trend. European stars like Sophia Loren also turned to cosmetic adjustments to elevate their timeless beauty. Sophia Loren's sultry beauty captured the essence of European glamour, but her famous face wasn't entirely untouched. Early in her career, she reportedly underwent a rhinoplasty to refine her nose while keeping her distinctive Mediterranean features intact. The change was subtle but powerful. It smoothed the lines of her profile, enhancing the elegance that defined her image. In the golden age of European cinema, beauty standards were just as demanding as in Hollywood. A refined nose and symmetrical face weren't just desirable, they were essential for leading ladies. Sophia's natural charisma combined with this delicate enhancement made her an international icon. And while Sophia's changes were discreet, Other stars, like Jane Fonda, openly admitted to using cosmetic procedures to keep their careers thriving over the decades. Jane Fonda wasn't afraid to evolve, on screen and off. As she transitioned from ingenue to fitness mogul, she openly admitted to having facelifts during her career. These procedures helped her maintain a fresh, youthful look while her career spanned decades and genres. Jane understood that in Hollywood, aging gracefully often required a little help. Her facelifts were subtle enough to preserve her natural beauty, but effective in smoothing fine lines and tightening sagging skin. This commitment to maintaining her appearance kept her in demand long after many of her peers faded from the spotlight. But Jane's openness about cosmetic work also shifted public attitudes. She proved that even the most successful women faced pressure to stay young in a business obsessed with appearance. Yet despite the work behind the scenes, she remained an undeniable talent. One who knew that a flawless image was sometimes the key to lasting success. And in the world of old Hollywood, those secrets were part of the game. And there you have. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating stories. Click on the next video popping up on your screen. You won't want to miss what's coming next.